Kyosho Neo 3.0. The Kyosho Neo is a model that I am very pleased with. On this model, it only comes in a 4S setup, which makes sense because if it's for racing, racing only allows 4S electronics, which keeps the car a little lighter, and it's as efficient as a 6S in my opinion. So you just gain that you are a little lighter on the racetrack, which helps. The servo, in my opinion, is better than the Arma or the Team Corrali. The servo is better, it's a little more responsive and it's faster. Got metal gears in it. The receiver box is really easy to deal with. You don't have to open any screws. And same with the Team Corrali that we talked about. You don't have to use screws, but the Arma Typhon, you do need to use a screwdriver. So here you just open the pins and you can get into your receiver, which is easy. When sometime we are in a race and we have an issue with the transponder or whatever it is, it's a lot easier to deal with these pins instead of go and find a 2.0 X driver and start opening some screws. That makes you waste a lot more time when you're in a hurry. This model though come with adjustable shocks but no sway bars, and a good price for this model is just about 420. So 420 for a car that's a 4S capable, it's pretty fair, a little cheaper than the 6S models. In this model we also getting steering knuckles made out of metal. That metal is not that strong, and to put the higher grade metals for the knuckles cost you just about 45 or 50 bucks a pair. A little pricey, but if this is the car that you're gonna end up with, it's a small price to pay for the longevity of this buggy. You can have these buggies for quite some time, years easy. One thing that all the models of ready-to-run models, in the market, when you have a metal chassis, you do need to worry about nosediving into the ground, because this will make the chassis bend. So if you are having this model and you're going to race with it, just be smart and go ahead and have a chassis at home ahead of time, because it will happen. Most cars are bending, specifically with beginner drivers when they crash a lot more than advanced. So keep that in mind. While we're here, I can just tell you guys up front what will be smart to buy extra to have at home. Normally the front parts, like the A-arms, the hubs, the hub carriers, and the knuckles, have a set of them at home. Every time you break one, just go ahead and order another one. Always have one extra at home. Definitely, if you don't mind getting a chassis, it's about $50 average for a price, and spare gear if it's not metal. In Kyosho, good thing is that it is metal spare gear. I believe in the Arma Typhon is the same, and the Python sounds like metal. So most of 8-scale vehicles come with the metal gears, which is important. You don't want to run into shaving gears every 10 minutes. That happened to me one day with actually a lossy 8-scale buggy. I was breaking a lot of gears that same day, and it's actually happened because of heat. We were running so hot in the summer, and the heat made that gear just melt. Right now I wanted to point out that between all these buggies, Arma, the only one that they put a little guards on the top of the shock. It's when you're flipping over, instead of scratching the top of your shocks, the shock caps, the plastic might take the scratches and it keeps the shocks in a better shape and looking good. So just something small that I wanted to point out. Now we're gonna go to the cheapest and most beginner buggy in the market. I will be honest with you and tell you guys that I am actually the distributor for Himoto. This is Himoto Shootout. The Shootout is a 8-scale buggy. They come with a battery and a charger when you get them from us or from online. It is a 4S motor and ESC, 2200 kV motor, 100 amp ESC, come with a fan on top, just like most of them. You're gonna pay $350 to up to $400, depends where you buy it. For $400 you get in a battery and a charger. The battery is a small battery, only 3300 milliamp, but it's gonna get the job done. You know, you'll get at least 20 minutes bashing. On a racetrack you might get 10 minutes, and some people ask me why you get less. Is because on a race you are much more on the throttle, so you're using a lot more throttle, and your batteries normally don't last. Even the biggest batteries, if it's a 8000 7000 milliamp, I mean, if you drive harsh and strong like we do here, you will only get maybe 10 to 15 minutes, depends how you drive. I will point it out that this car don't have a metal chassis, only the front part of the car is metal and the rest is plastic. So once again, it is made to be cheaper. It is not a professional or not even a wannabe professional vehicle. It's just something you know, to start with, and there is a way to upgrade some aluminum parts of this car. This car comes with plastic shocks, which is it's not a great thing for a heavy 8-scale buggy, but if you oil them right and you don't crash too much, they will last. They are adjustable. You do have sway bars. You have a very strong dog bones here. They will take a lot of abuse. You can change them to CV joints as well. Actually, they are CV joints. You got a center diff, and it's an easy car to work on. You know, just in case you do break a chassis on this model, it will cost you only about 25 bucks to change the chassis, and it will take probably 20 minutes to do so if you're pretty fast with your tools. So now, the moment you guys waiting for, you want to know which of them, in my opinion, is. So I got a lot of love for Kyosho. Kyosho is the first company ever made for racing remote control. 50 some years ago, Japanese company. They always been pretty good and slick with their product. But I do find that the plastic on them is not as strong as other brands. Other brands, for example, Arma. I have a lot of experience with Arma and Losi and Techno and other brands, but I'm not going to compare them to the TLR or the Techno. I'm just going to compare them to the ready-to-run models. So I feel like the plastic is not as strong. The metal is not as strong as well. They tend to bend a lot easier, and that's a downfall. But a beautiful car, handles really good if you know how to drive, definitely all day long. The Python, a new model for me in the shop. I have sold quite a bit of them. Many of my customers let me drive their car, and I felt like it was a pretty decent, good first car to have, and having the sway bars and the adjustable shocks and the price point of $450 for 6S electronics, that puts it in a pretty high place for me. So I will give this car 8 points on this table. The Typhon, let's talk about Typhon, one of the best-selling cars in the market. Very tough, very durable. Again, not exactly this model. The actual Typhon, you can watch another review one day we'll make on the Typhon itself, or you can watch other reviews online. But the Typhon have some of the strongest plastics I've seen so far. Their differentials are more durable than any of these models here on this table, and I fixed a lot of them, so I know for sure that the differentials, if you put them together and you shim them just right, they can last you forever. I know many drag racers that have put this car on test and did more than 80 plus miles an hour on them with the biggest motors and ESCs, so they can handle and they can take a lot of abuse. For the price point, $550, for the durability that you get and the handling that you get, which it is a little on the heavier side, I will give it 8.5 points. So it's a little more durable than the Python. It doesn't have the same agility as the Python, but for a beginner, you're going to crash a lot more. So I think for beginner drivers, you should go with more durability than handling, because you ain't knowing how to handle anyway. Let's be frank about it. For the shootout by Himoto, if you someone that doesn't have a lot of money, or and you just want to get something cheap, cheaper, let's put it that way, the shootout will be just right for you. Just remember, you got limitations. You cannot dog it, you cannot drive it as harsh. You need to drive it with care. Pay attention to where you drive, how you drive, and understand you have limitations. So keep this car in that limitations, and you'll be just fine. And I've seen people that drive with us professionally with this model, and they were doing pretty good. So if you want to try it and you feel like the price is fair, remember, we have them with batteries and charger included. And that's all for today, guys, about the buggies 8 scale. I know there is a lot more buggies out there in the market, like Team Associated, which is not only stable. I will probably rank Team Associated just like the Python. So in my store, I don't feel like I need to have so many. This is just enough. So again, subscribe. Don't forget to like us. If you have any questions, any requests, shoot it to us, and we'll do our best to deliver. Thanks again.